Welcome to the God is Not an Asshole podcast. If you are one of the many people done with religious dogmatism, hang on. You might sense transcendence, but your church or other faith community never seem to get off the ground. You realize that honoring your conscience means more than fitting in and keeping hard-to-explain rules? Hang on. You could probably think of the goodness in your tradition, and you tried your best to save that baby, but there's so much bathwater. Join your hosts, David Norman Moore Jr. in California and Carrie Connolly in New Jersey, who are collaborating to bring on guests who have found life on the other side of fundamentalism. Guests with stories of how they have liberated themselves from beliefs that divide us from each other. None of our guests' narratives are identical, but we hope you'll find something in common with each of them. We invite you to experience our common bond as we all inspire even more of us to embrace the true self.
Hey everybody, I'm here with Sahar Al-Slani, and this is a very special episode because we were at the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago, and she has a role in all of that. I was an attendee, a learner and listener, but she was one of the people who helps make it happen. So I'm going to ask you, Sahar, to introduce yourself to everybody.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. And Pastor David,
Alaikum salam.
Always an honor and a blessing to hang out with you in any format, mashallah. And thank you for coming to the Parliament. I am one of the trustees of the Parliament of World Religions. This was our centennial, centennial anniversary. Thank you to whoever came. We had people coming, I think, from around 60 different countries, and almost, I think every single state was represented. And it was a very rocky start, and my most humble apologies for any technical difficulties or any of the zaniness, but we are a multi-faith crew. So I guess that's part of the part of the scene. But it was such a blessing. And I always say either God is just smiling or cracking up. I mean, that's what he was doing the entire week. And I really appreciate Pastor Dave coming and kind of getting glimpses into behind the scenes. And it's always those little moments that you don't remember, like, while it's happening. But when you look back, you're like, oh my gosh, that is some of the coolest things. Like, I will never, ever have a chance to see. It's like, I ran into a wizard and I'm like, can I have a hug? He's like, sure. Yeah. And it's like those little moments, that you kind of have to capture on film or on video or on pictures, because that is what God's kingdom on earth is. And I think if there's any possible specimen or microcosm that is close to that, I think it would be the Parliament of World Religions. And perhaps there was some holiness into some of the dysfunctions there, because life is not perfect. Right. So when I look back on it, it really was a test to see how everybody could handle themselves, because, life is not utopia. But it was an honor to have you all there. And I look forward to seeing the interviews.
Yeah. So Sahar, one of the big things that stands out. Well, let me ask this first. How many cultural faith religions were represented there?
Well, we have an option of about 200, and I think almost everyone was represented. I mean, If not, maybe at least 180. So it was definitely a cross section, and I think that was probably the most beautiful part. Was not the interfaith interactions, but the intra-faith interactions, because we had
break that down.
Yes, sometimes, and I'm sure Reverend Dave, Pastor Dave, that sometimes it's easier to cut through the dogma and get right to the spirituality with somebody of another faith. You kind of get right to the point. But but inside the faith, within the faiths, it's not that it's mutated, but through geographic isolation and whatnot, and interpretations, which is a very holy thing to do, by the way, we might fight over dogma. And I like to think of interfaith work as, I always say this, if like I'm driving to New York City, right? I live about 30 miles away, right? So all of us, there's many ways I can get there. Not that New York City is God by any means, but just go with me, like I could, take a bus. Somebody could drive their brand new Ferrari. Somebody could take, the ferry. Somebody could pogo stick. Somebody could hitchhike. Somebody could hop on their truck. Like, we all have our own way of getting to that center. But what we do as humans is we try to outdo each other and judge on the transportation to get there. Oh, look at this clown. This clown is taking the bus and he could have hitched a ride with me in my Ferrari. I got there in an hour. Oh, look at this clown. He's doing somersaults. Really? He's doing somersaults? He could have just gotten on the ferry. But instead of arguing about that, we just got to figure out, once we get to that place, instead of complaining and one-upping each, judging each other, we're all here. So what are we going to do now? It's like a Janet Jackson song. What have you done for me lately? And a lot of times the most difficult of those conversations happen within the spectrum of a faith. For example, in Islam, we have A to Z, Ahmadis to Zaydis. In the Jewish community, you have, the ultra Orthodox, the Hasidics, and then you have the gay rabbis, and of course in Christianity, that is probably the most diverse. You have the Quakers, over here silent, and then you got the Shakers over here, and then you got the Pentecostals, and then you got the Catholics, and you got the Lutherans, they're all like the same in the Buddhists. Even with the indigenous European communities, formerly known as pagans, the neo-heathens and the heathens and the druids, they each kind of have their own little method or little travel guide to get there. But the beautiful thing there is that I saw a parallel of intra-faith leaders, Orthodox, Catholic bishops, Lutheran bishops, whatnot, and also world leaders of different faiths together. And I think, and the children brought the children portion also. That was probably my favorite part.
Thank you for that. That was beautiful. My first time going to the parliament was in Toronto. Was that 5 years ago? And while I was there, I absorbed the feeling, just being there was just intoxicating. All the people motivated by love and compassion and humanitarianism, not trying to convert everybody else, but trying to really accept and enjoy one another. It wasn't even so much acceptance, because you go there in knowing that this is what you embrace, you accept the diversity, but the joy of just being with so many people from around the world with so many ways of being. And one thing that I loved being in Chicago this week is Langar.
Yes.
Tell us about Langar.
Langar is amazing. And it is, it's a classic testament to a ritual that we all have. Everybody loves to get together in fellowship and share a meal and share good conversation.
We have communion as from the Christian faith, right?
We have our iftars, you know what I mean? We have every tradition, and it's amazing. You can have good quality dialogue. You can talk Torah. You can see how your day was. It's a time to unplug. You thank God for, you thank the earth and God for the food. It's like a mandatory time out and reflection. And nowadays, like a lot of times, parents have to pass around like a basket and say, put your cell phones. A lot of us eat in front of our TVs. I know I eat in my car. You can see how many, how many wrappers I have. But there's something beautiful about getting together and having a blessing and sharing a meal. And the Sikhs are known internationally for having what's called a langar, a Sikh meal. And it's always vegetarian, which is what's also cool is it's usually mostly run by men. So the women do a lot of the cooking, but the men are the one that do the serving. The men are the one that go up and down the aisles, which I thought really was kind of cool. I got a lot of swagger to do that, and they don't charge. The Golden Temple in India feeds, from what I understand, 50,000 people a day.
Yes, and good job.
50,000 people a day. And so they fed 7,000
people from every economic sector, right? It's bringing people together.
Every faith, if you need a meal. And what's beautiful, I kind of resonate with it in Islam, is that whether you're a prince or a pauper, you sit at the same level. That's why you sit on the floor, and And it was kind of funny because I usually wear my hijab, but the one time my head wasn't covered, he's like, he comes through, he went down and goes, could you cover your hair, please? And I was like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. But that everybody has to cover their hair, and they provide you with a
Yeah,
cover.
you should have seen the adventure. It was, when I went each day when I went in and sat down, and they were trying to put a turban on my hair, and like the women were doing this, and they were consulting one another. Well, try this, try that,
And the way that the decorum and the gravitas that they carry themselves with, we had about 179 young adults from 9 to I think 18 flew in on their own dime from London, and they volunteered every day in the rain, no portable kitchen. I mean, imagine how much naan they must have had to toast to feed all of us.
And still tastes good.
Tastes good. They were pleasant. They didn't flip out when the rain came pouring down on them. Polite, just welcoming to everybody. I mean, I have it hard imagining any kind of youth group keeping that up for 5 days, let alone doing it on their own time in the middle of summer on their summer vacation. And so that's a testament to their witness, and they are known to, they have langars everywhere, northern Iraq, in Syria, in Venezuela, almost any place that there's a natural disaster. Their organization is called Khasla Aid. And Khasla, it's actually an Arabic word. From my understanding, in Arabic, it means fiercely loyal. But I know it also has a different, slightly different meaning in Punjabi, but fiercely loyal, that we will show up for you and you will get a dignified, hot meal, nutritious meal.
Yes.
No questions asked. You can nourish your brain, nourish your soul, nourish.
This is part of their practice in the same way that people pray or people do yoga or meditate or whatever people do. Feeding people is what they do to make that connection.
Yes, it's an act. One of my favorite quotes of all time I heard from Dr. Simran Singh, younger. He's, I remember him when he was so much younger. He said, the way that you love God is that you serve others. And I always resonated with me that is probably one of the most beautiful ways that you can worship your Lord, and, Prophet Muhammad said, even smiling is an act of charity. So many things you can do to serve God. You can pick up trash. You can do this. You can deliver something. You can open a door. But any way that you can make somebody's life a little bit easier is a form of worship.
Well, I have to say, and we're getting ready to turn to the videos. Our friend, because Matt is your friend too, Matt Lowe, who is also from Santa Barbara. We went around the exhibit hall and we interviewed a number of people from a number of traditions. We found that intoxicating. Just, people just passionate about what they do, but not stepping on anybody else's toe, promoting their humanitarian work, their spiritual work, their love for humanity. So we're going to go to these really short clips from people from around the country, around the world. And your name is?
My name is Dalbar Singh.
Why are you here this week?
We are here to serve the langar, Guru Nanak's langar, which is what we Sikhs are known for.
Yes. Where do you live?
We live in Birmingham, UK.
Is it worth the trip for you to be here?
We go to every parliament.
You go to every. So maybe I met you in Toronto or something like that.
Toronto, we weren't allowed to serve langar.
Okay.
So we did not go. We served in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
There was no langar in Melbourne. We did a very big one when it was in Barcelona.
What about Durban?
Durban, I can't remember that one.
Okay. So what's the biggest takeaway, the benefit for being here?
Self-satisfaction. meeting people, like-minded people. We're all here for one thing, peace, world peace, you know.
We're all here for world peace.
Yes.
That's your vision.
That's my vision.
It's
yes.
your hope.
Yes.
Is it going to happen?
Yeah, probably later.
One day.
One day.
One day.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
So, what is your name and what brought you to the parliament?
Namaste. My name is Shobha Swami and I'm representing Kohana, Coalition of Hindus of North America, and I am really loved coming here to the Parliament of World Religions, where you can see a wide variety of thoughts, people, and so much diversity here.
Thank you so much. What is the main thing that you will remember about this week?
I'll remember all the presentations, the wonderful movie that the Sikhs showed about the genocide of Sikhs and Hindus in areas such as Afghanistan, areas such as Pakistan, and many other countries. We were invited to their screening of the documentary, and it really brought home the message that there are many minorities across the world that are being really ethnically cleansed, removed in many of the countries, and we must stand up and have a strong voice for all different practices where we showcase mutual respect for religions, faiths, and different people, native, indigenous, ancient traditions, and other traditions all across the globe. So we need to harbor more mutual respect. And I loved everything here that they have organized so beautifully. Thank the Sikh community for providing us food every single afternoon.
That's what I was going to ask you about next is, did you enjoy lunch, the Sikhs, and what did you think about that?
Absolutely. Their sense of service, their sense of commitment, and their sense of attention to detail, and not to mention the yummy, tasty, healthy vegetarian food that they serve to us every single day with no expectation.
Thank you so much. We're here with the Reverend Jennifer Butler, and I would like to know what attracts you to the Parliament of the World's Religions.
Well, I, first of all, learn a lot from other faith traditions. It informs my own spiritual beliefs, Buddhism and Judaism and Wiccan faiths. Like, I learn so much from that, and it deepens my own spirituality. The other thing is, we're up against a lot right now in the world. All over the globe, autocracy is rising, and it's being supported by religious nationalism. And so we, as religious leaders, need to organize against that. We need to reclaim our faiths for human rights and democracy so that autocrats can't hijack our faiths and use them to persuade people to enter these tyrannical systems that they want to create. They're trying to create in-groups and out-groups and pit people against each other. And so we need to uplift our teachings around human dignity for all so that they can't do that. That is the biggest antidote that we bring to the table, and that's what we're talking about at the Parliament.
Wow. One more question.
Yes.
What about consciousness of the earth?
Yes, absolutely. And so part of this is not only oppression of different groups of people, it's also oppression of the planet, which sustains and gives us life, and the separation that they create between human beings at the top of the hierarchy and the planet and creation at the bottom of the hierarchy. We are a part of this natural system, and when we destroy it, and when we destroy other human beings, we're destroying ourselves because we're all interconnected. And so we need to be aware of that as well. This is about the sake of humanity, including planet Earth and Mother Earth.
Yeah, that's the one place where you can't say yo mama because it's all of us.
That's right, it's all of us. That's right, well put.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
This is the producer and editor. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Laura Friedman. I'm the producer and editor of Portraits in Faith, which is an online documentary project that has interviews of 500 people from 28 countries of over 50 faiths, spiritual traditions, inside and outside formal religion. And the purpose of the project is to encourage people to listen to the story of the other, to realize that there is no other. And so we have an online documentary project that has the photographs and videos of these interviews. We also have a coffee table book with the first 125 interviews that are part of the project. And we also have a traveling exhibit called Seeing the Other, which was in Chicago this year. Next year we'll be at the Muhammad Ali Center for a year. And it's an exhibit that is also accompanied by an educational experience and workshop for students and youth and children, so that they can start to learn how to interview each other about their own journey of spirituality and faith, and to learn how to listen to the other, to dismantle this idea that there is no other.
She's our friend.
Yeah.
What motivated you personally to be here this week?
Well, in addition to working for, let me start again. Started that again.
You're good.
Okay. Well, we have a booth here, which has a book and shares a lot about what the project is about. And downstairs in Exhibit Hall E, there are some yurts. There are 4 yurts, and our photographs are covering the yurts. And you can scan the QR code and be directed to the person's photograph and their video interview. And personally, I'm from Colombia. I grew up in a Jewish family and in a Catholic country. I'm also a Baha'i. So as a Baha'i, I really believe in the unity of all religions and promoting well-being and promoting health and promoting unity. And so this space to me is very important to engage in discourse on how we can move past prejudice, move past barriers, move past any hate and racism. And really my purpose in life is to promote unity as a core of my beliefs.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for giving us a moment of your time.
Yeah, thank you.
My name is Jen, and I'm with Tending to the Temple. And I'm here because people need help. I need help. People need work. I need work. And if I could do it by myself, or if any of us could do it alone, it'd be done already. So here to meet people and connect and find out how to build partnerships, just based on realizing we need each other.
Wow. That's a mouthful.
And the organization you're here with is?
I'm Tending to the Temple.
Thank you for representing.
For sure.
For representing humanity.
Good to meet you both.
Thank you.
Thea Lucatia. I'm representing Loyola University Chicago and our Institute of Pastoral Studies. One project that our faculty is currently working on is this online e-textbook called Healing Earth, in which professors are studying the intersection between Jesuit ideology and environmental sustainability.
Thank you so much, Sophia. So what is your name and why are you here?
So my name is Sarah Beckerman. I am with an organization called the One America Movement, and we work with clergy across the country to confront toxic polarization within their congregations and their communities by bridging divides and healing wounds and building relationships.
Oh, you got our interest.
Are you Christian?
Now. I am not a Christian, but we do programming. I'm sorry?
We're trying to find Christians.
Oh.
Yeah, because we've interviewed
so many other
30,
people.
40 different traditions. And
the other ladies, many of us are.
Yeah, but they're even.
But I am Jewish,
oh, cool,
and we do programming. Yeah, we do multi-faith programming, bringing different congregations and clergy together across religious, political, racial, socioeconomic divides. But we also.
So what does that look like intra-organization? Like if there's that kind of conflict within an organization? And how do you respond to that?
Yeah, so we do a lot of work. A lot of our work starts off doing work within an individual congregation or within an individual faith community by reflecting on the norms, perceptions, behaviors that both feed polarization and division, and leaning into what aspects of that individual congregation's faith can quell the tide of division.
What kind of contentions arise?
I mean, you name it. Congregations are microcosms of what's taking place across the country in regards to toxic polarization and division. So we see people, wanting to not talk about certain things or to talk about certain things, or getting upset if their faith leader does or does not talk about a particular contentious or divisive issue taking place across the country. And it can come across, or it can come out as people leaving congregations because they might disagree with some of the individuals who sit next to them in the pews, or they don't necessarily agree with their faith leader. So you're getting a lot of siloing off of different folks.
So how have you seen things change after they call upon you?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We are seeing change in a very real way, where people are having their own internal moments of realization of how they are both contributing to and could be contributing to polarization, and how they can also be individuals that stop it. So we're seeing change at the individual level. We're seeing change at the community level, where we're seeing congregations come together and serving their community side by side. Wow. You might vote differently, you might pray differently, but we all recognize that there's a need within our community that we both share and recognize. We see difficult conversations being had on challenging issues with neighbors.
Who reaches out to you? How does it happen? Do they call 1-800-1-America? We need help right away?
It's a little bit of both. 1-800. Yeah, it's a little bit of both. We do a lot of outreach to different communities. We work with different denominations. So we do a lot of our own outreach, and then a lot of people come to us. They find us and they say, "Hey, I'm a faith leader, and I could use some help." We come to events like this.
Well, thank you so much for your time and for your work.
Oh, thank you.
So, and what are your names?
I'm Lindsay. I'm Leah.
What motivated you to be here at the Parliament of the World Religions?
So we are with a podcast called In Good Faith, where it's a podcast where we interview people from all different faiths, backgrounds, religions, about how they develop their faith, how they live their faith, what it is. We do roundtable discussions with people from other faiths about how they work together and make the world a better place. So we are just here to spread the word about our podcast, and also to find other people who we could bring on our podcast as well. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. I like it. Yeah. So, and you have something?
Yeah. So I came to the Parliament today to just learn about other traditions. I think learn about other people and why they believe what they do, and then we can get them on the podcast and share those stories with the wider audience.
Thank you.
What's one thing that you've learned in your time doing the podcast? Like something that's been really special to you?
I think just how much I have in common with people I never thought I would have things in common with, right? And learning to appreciate other traditions that I don't, because I myself, we're Latter-day Saints, so we're from Utah, right? And I think it's just interesting how much we have in common and how much I can respect a tradition while I still I'm not going to convert to it entirely, but I can respect it and agree with some of their teachings. It's super cool.
We're all on a journey.
Yeah, for sure. Those journeys overlap sometimes. It's just fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, all the best to you. Thank you
as
so
well.
much.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my name is Muzi Bindi, originally from South Africa, but now I'm based in Thailand. I was a pastor for 24 years, and after 24 years, we had this 9/11, and it changed my whole orientation about God, about religion, about spirituality. And in August 2007, after reading a book by Richard Dawkins, The God Delusion, it came as a revelation that actually I was serving the wrong God, if I have to be blunt. And I can also give some scriptural justification for that. And basically, I had an awakening. And the voice said to me that what Richard Dawkins was saying was actually right. And that led to me to scholars, to the Jesus Seminar, to the World Parliament of Religions, and to studying the Aramaic, and to understanding that Jesus spoke Aramaic, and Jesus spoke about God as Abba. And Abba was not the word that was used by the Jewish people. No wonder then they said to him, teach us to pray to Abba. Teach us to pray to this source. Abba means source in Aramaic.
Source. So let me ask this. What inspired you to be here this week at the Parliament?
No, basically that was the catalyst. The 17th August 2007. because everything that has happened, all the people that I've met, all the movements that I've joined,
Yes.
all the books that I've read,
Yes.
happened after the 17th of August 2007. That was my great awakening.
Okay.
I could say that was my born again experience
Thank
after
you.
24 years of pastoring.
Thank you so much.
My name is Carrie Prentice.
And what is your organization? What do you do?
This is the Urantia book.
And what's Garantia?
Urantia is the name for this planet. This is a book that was originally printed in 1955. It came through people, you know, it wasn't written by them, it came through them, and in the 30s, and it finally was published in 1955, and it's a very comprehensive, modern view of the universe and God and Jesus, his role here on Urantia, that's the name of our, and it speaks of eternal life if we choose this. Nobody's going to hell. If you don't want to continue living,
What's the hope? What's the
but we advance through different worlds and different planets, and we come to finally, you know, stand in the presence of God.
And what brings you here for the Parliament?
Well, I came here because I support the Urantia Foundation. I've read it several times. I love to be with Urantia readers, and it's also fun to be around so many people who have different ideas about God. And God is so big, you know, we have all these different people who have different views of God, and they all come together, and that's a wonderful thing.
Carolyn, thank you so much.
Thank you. Of South Africa, and we do a lot of charitable work. We've built 670 schools, creches, old age homes, sewing centers, peace centers, and as you can see, we feed 3,000 children every day, and the funds come from our books and also donations, so whatever people give us supports our humanitarian work.
And what's your name?
Dr. Mewalal Chatrughun.
Well, thank you for your work in South Africa. Where in South Africa are you based?
Durban, but we work throughout KwaZulu-Natal. We have branches in Cape Town and Gauteng as well.
So you were probably part of the conference last time, 3 years ago, when it was in Durban?
Toronto.
Oh, you were in Toronto. I was in Toronto. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. And what's your name?
I'm Johnny.
Johnny.
We belong to the Universal Sufi Order based on Virginia. We came here from Virginia, so my office is in Virginia, Manassas.
And what motivated you to be here this week?
We are not this week. We are completely our life and our mission is 24 months for every country. So we came here as a event for the Parliament of Religions of World. Every 3 years is ongoing, every city or every state. So our mission is provide the teaching of His Holiness, basically His Holiness Lord Rayaz, our spiritual master. So we are providing his teaching.
And what is
the purpose of this teaching? The main purpose, any human body, doesn't matter he is religious or not a problem. But he needs to be, we are providing a teaching how to clean, purify your heart and soul.
So what does it mean to you to be a Sufi?
Sufi, first of all, I am saying Sufi doesn't relate it to the religion. Doesn't matter you have a religion or not, because Sufi comes from the Arabic word. It briefly mean purified all negative thought or something in your body.
Yes.
So we are not, everybody in this world, any field does not have a complete, either engineer, either doctor, either Sufi.
Okay.
Every day he needs to be improvement. So nobody is complete here. If, for example, if I am Sufi, so it's not a complete Sufi. We are every day same destination.
Processing.
Yes. So first step in spirituality, you have to purify your heart. For example, we are human being. We can sit dirty place. In order to sitting somewhere, we have to find clean and tidy place. As well, our heart is place of God. We don't need to invite Him. We need to clean our heart. When heart is clean, God automatically come in our heart.
I love it. Thank you so much, Johnny. I am here at the Parliament of the World Religions with Joyce Bahati. Why are you here?
I am an interfaith chaplain, and I love to connect with people of like mind. And this is the best I've ever experienced. Most people that I connect with have different faiths, different connections to their own faith, and yet they are willing to look at the oneness that we are all living in and work from that toward a better world.
Yay! Is this your first Parliament?
Yes.
I kind of gathered that. So I'm so excited for you. Thank you for taking a moment with me, all right?
Oh, you're very welcome.
Okay. Oh, where are you from?
Sacramento, California.
Oh, okay. You're going back to the heat.
No, I'm going to go on a cruise.
Well.
And then after that, back to the heat.
Good for you. Congratulations, Joyce.
Thank you.
Okay. We are here with
Renata.
All right, Renata. You are from?
I live in Boston.
You live in Boston. And why are you here?
Okay, I'm here to represent the Association for Spiritual Integrity. We are an organization of spiritual teachers and leaders, providing space for voluntary accountability. We provide our members code of ethics, free webinars, and peer support as well.
Well, what got my attention is the sign here that says the ethical crisis among unaffiliated spiritual leaders. Can you just say something about that?
So now anyone who has a spiritual attainment, or it doesn't even, and has access to internet can create a website and become a teacher or a guru. Those teachers, sometimes intentional and sometimes unintentional, can break the ethics because they don't have any system in place. They are not connected to any lineage. So for them, we are also, trying to them, we are also here to provide some resources like the code of ethics.
So, in just a short description, what is the solution, the remedy for this crisis of unaffiliated spiritual leaders?
The crisis is not with unaffiliated spiritual leaders, it's with any spiritual leaders or teachers who are just not aware. It's complex, but sometimes the abuse of power happens because people are not aware of their needs, and then they get projected on their students or on their communities.
What do you teach them to walk in the way of integrity?
I think sometimes just to be aware of it, first thing is just to be willing to be more in integrity, because we forget, we are just like, okay, of course I'm, a good person, but it's actually useful to read through the code of ethics, have something that you can refer to.
Yes.
And then, talk with other teachers or your peers. Hey, I'm not sure how much I should charge, what's the fair value here,
Wow.
I don't know,
So it really doesn't matter what the practice is, the religion, the tradition. It can be exploited when people are not accountable.
Exactly.
And not being people of integrity.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your work, Renata.
I'm Kathleen Regan. I'm with All Faith Seminary International. We're located in Manhattan, where our founder, Rabbi Joseph Gelberman, had this idea many, many years ago that to bring us all together, it would be really important to create a ministry of interfaith. So he was a Hasidic rabbi from Hungary who lost his entire family in the Holocaust, and said that, well, all of the people that lost their family in the Holocaust could be angry at God for the rest of their life, or we can transform this into something better by learning to understand each other, talk to each other, respect each other. And that can only be done by getting to know each other and realizing that we are all brothers and sisters. Maybe your accent is different than mine, but we're all brothers and sisters of the one source, one God.
One source. So, what motivated you to be here at the Parliament of the World's Religions?
What motivated me? Well, I'm the dean of this seminary, and we teach students who wish to become interfaith ministers. So this is a wonderful opportunity for us to gather with like-minded people, to meet other organizations like this wonderful organization to my right,
Global Ministries University.
Right. We've been negotiating to partner with each other because we could help each other. We discovered that what they do and what we do really is a great fit. So I'm here to learn more about all the other organizations and hopefully to inspire people to become interfaith ministers who have had the calling.
So tell me one thing that stands out in your mind concerning Rabbi Joseph Gelberman.
He realized that one of the keys to life was to have purpose. And he said when God gave Moses the 10 Commandments, he made a mistake.
You made a mistake. You got my attention.
There are 11 commandments. And the 11th commandment is, thou shalt have purpose.
Ooh.
Bill.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
And as a matter of fact, we are about to start working on a film about the interfaith movement and Rabbi Gelberman's life, and it's called The 11th Commandment.
Nice.
Isn't that great?
I like that plug
That
there.
is.
Yeah, that was it.
Tell us your name and why you came to the Parliament.
My name is Jan Dirks, and I came to the Parliament because I've always been interested in religious affairs, comparative religion, church history, missionary history, through which I also have gained a very diverse anthropological interest. And my first attendance was in Toronto 5 years ago.
Yes, me too.
And there I noticed the relatively great importance of racism and also the indigenous issues that were brought up in the Parliament. And that's why actually I came back just on my own expense and try to learn more and to share it with other people. And you know, I'm 74 now and I keep learning.
All right, so we are here with Teresa Harris. What are you doing here?
I'm here with Zant International. It's a global membership organization. We work to build a better world for women and girls. And we're in 63 countries presently, soon to be 70 countries. And we do this through, if you think of the word SHE as an acronym, S-H-E, we do it through safety, healthcare, and education.
Wow. And so you're based here in Illinois.
Yes, our global headquarters is only about 15 miles from where you're standing right now.
So what attracted you to the Parliament of World Religions?
Oh, I just love that everybody is here for a common mission of unity and peace. And I think that nobody can do it alone. We have to do it together.
You said it. That's beautiful. Thank you.
What are you doing here?
I'm here to meet everybody. Okay, we're in Chicago here with
Mike.
Jessica.
And what inspired you to be in Chicago at the Parliament this week?
I have been watching the Parliament for a few years, actually quite a few years, and waiting for the right time. to come. And then the pandemic happened, and then I didn't want to come virtual. So, and we live in Kansas City, so it was easy to get here this year.
Yeah.
No excuses.
Good for you.
She invited me to come along, and I had no idea what to expect. So I came with the intention to explore and learn, and did a lot of exploration and a lot of learning.
So was it worth it?
Oh, 100%.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Would you do it again?
Definitely. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're
So, and who are you?
My name is Sabil Ahmed.
And what brought you to the Parliament of the World's Religions?
To meet people and to share the beautiful faith of Islam, because it has been misunderstood by so many people. What we say is that there is only one God. God loves humanity, and He appointed messengers and prophets as the way that you see up there. He gave the scripture, the Quran, that has guidance for humanity, solutions for problems, and the way of salvation is to have the right belief, worshipping one God and doing the deeds that we are supposed to do. That's the way for salvation. That's the message of Islam. That's the message of peace.
So what motivated you personally to be here?
To be here because I'm one of the speakers. Tomorrow I'm one of the panelists. 7 lessons on human rights from the life of Muhammad, peace be upon him.
What
Try to come there.
Do you have a bullet point of each 7?
Well, I can mention to you women's rights, rights of even the enemy during war, rights of the minorities living under a Muslim country, rights of children, rights of neighbors, rights of the POWs, so on and so forth.
Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. So One Spirit Learning Alliance is an interspiritual education organization. For us, it's about helping people find their unique spiritual path and providing different access points and pathways for them to do that across faith traditions. We believe in experiential learning, so the idea is that while instructors and educators have wisdom, so too does the student and the learner through their lived experience. And it's about sharing all of that wisdom in safe, respectful spaces. We're also an anti-racist organization, or we have a commitment to anti-racism because one doesn't complete the work. And some of our programming is specifically geared towards that. And this is Reverend Dr. Khadija. She's one of our beautiful leaders, educators, geniuses who hold space who hold space in our spiritual companioning program. She's one of our co-facilitators. And yeah, we are very proud of our organization and our wonderful graduates who go out into the world and share community in all of these different ways. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you for your work. Thank you for your work.
Yes, thank you.
Mashallah, 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 takbir, Baruch Hashem, alhamdulillah, praise God. That was amazing. That was amazing. That was, an amazing insight, bird's eye view, front eye view of things that were happening only in the booth, the exhibit hall. So imagine what was going on around. The exhibit hall was like an interfaith bazaar.
Yes.
And there are people seeking knowledge, people having booths on, fighting, combating hunger and sex trafficking and this, and just people helping each other, like covering their booths during the day because they were long days. I mean, one of my favorite interactions was the heathens were right next door to the Franciscan friars. And, like, hey, dude, can you pick me up coffee? I mean, it was everybody just had such wonderful camaraderie and mutual respect for the work to serve the higher power that they did.
And let me just interject. This exhibit hall, because I know sometimes when we think exhibit halls, we think people are selling things, right? But this was not selling things. It was just opportunities to share, right?
Yeah, to get to know one another, to find out if we have any projects that we might want to work on together. I mean, one of my favorite quotes from the Quran, God says, cooperate with one another in acts of righteousness and piety. So, why double up on efforts if somebody is already, like, for example, one time there was a Hurricane Maria, thing, and, hurricane, and there was a relief effort. The Bruderhofs, the Mennonite community, they're like, well, we have so-and-so. And the Hindus are like, well, we got lots of food we can give you. And then the Scientologist kids are like, well, we got the manpower. So they're tripling up. You can work together and then exponentially your efforts can increase to serve humanity without doing double work. And that was a perfect place to get
Yes.
to know one another. And
Well,
I met some of my best friends in the world just traveling through that exhibit and exchanging information.
yes, it is beautiful. I have to say that the first time I saw this was 5 years ago in Toronto, and I was very much looking forward to seeing if they were going to be there again. The Suchi Buddhists,
Yes, yes.
which are led, their teacher is a woman, their founder is a
Yay.
woman, and women do almost everything. But they've done things like take um, plastic bottles and turn them into useful items for people who are experiencing catastrophes.
Wow.
They make shoes that look like any shoe that you would purchase, but they're fashioned so that you could step on a nail and it won't penetrate the
Wow.
sole.
From plastic bags. I sell some shoes made from recycled plastic bags.
Isn't that something? They made desks, they made blankets and clothing.
Yeah.
The hats with little solar powered flashlights, so that if it goes dark, the light shines for hours. I mean, they are ready, and they go everywhere. In fact, when we were in Chicago, they told me they were getting ready to go to Maui to help people, who were experiencing, a catastrophe. So,
How
wow.
cool would it be to follow the Buddhist nuns to Maui and help them make plastic shoes or blankets out of, recycled material? I mean, I would be totally down for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So beautiful. Well, Sahar, do you have any closing words as we wrap up this podcast for the week?
Well, as always, thank you for your witness. And I just want to remind, the viewers and humanity that it was not easy it's not easy coordinating an effort, a dinner party for 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 people. So please give us if there was any difficulties, but feel free to call up and volunteer at the Parliament, because if the better we are, the better we can serve you.
Yeah.
And, it's very hard on a group of people or with limited funding, but you don't know who you're going to meet, what allies you're going to form, who you're going to spark, who you're going to teach, who your children are going to meet. It is the best way. And sometimes we tend to focus, we might spend half an hour a day on social media, but, give them a call and say, what can I do to help? And we've got to make the next event better. And I'm dreaming of a children's parliament, kids of parliament, junior for children and then for teens. And, those are the leaders of tomorrow. So just keep praying for us.
I said we were wrapping up, but as you're talking, I reflected on, we were in Chicago and there was a moment for Reverend Jesse Jackson. Can you say something about that?
Yes. When the idea of honoring Reverend Jackson from one of our board members, amazing board member, a lot of us, I hadn't realized he grew up in, he was from Chicago. For some reason, I don't know why I thought maybe he was from the South. But, people had asked, like, what has he meant to you? Or how has he kind of shifted your role in activism? And I just remember talking, there was a group and maybe about 3 of us. And I remember coming out and saying, me as a Muslim, I remember one of my very first protests was when Jesse Jackson came to an Arab American conference. And that was the first time that really a world leader had kind of dignified our community and listened to us. And C-SPAN were in it. I think it was C-SPAN. I mean, hijabis were on it. Reverend Bobby Rush, who was on the board with us, he was so genuine and so humble and saying, I worked with him. He's a good man. And so there's a couple of us, we were thinking about it. We had understood that perhaps there were some issues before, maybe perhaps with some ideas of anti-Semitism. But I do know the rabbi in New York City, humility and humbleness is the key to moving forward in everything. And I do know that Rabbi Jesse Jackson has spent a lot of time with the Jewish community worldwide and in New York City and around the country. to come to understanding on verbiage, nuances. And I think from that, I really understood his humility and how he really does work for Jesus every day.
Yeah.
And it was just so cool to see him. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I just remember him 70s, 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s,
Right.
kids. And it was a blessing. It was definitely a blessing.
Yeah. I was moved, particularly when they showed the montage, the video of children from around the world saying, I am somebody, one after the other. Just before they brought him onto the stage in a wheelchair, he's been debilitated by Parkinson's, sadly. And his daughter sang powerfully to set up the moment where they brought him on stage. And as you said, we don't want to be defined by, not a single one of us wants to be defined by one piece of our lives, especially if it's in the remote past, because we all grow, we all change. And I know there was a time in my life I would not even have wanted to go to the Parliament of the World's Religions. Like, why would I want to go listen to anybody else?
Exactly. No, and, talking about those moments that come back to you, I think the one time my eyes got swelled up with tears, was when you, Pastor Dave, when they were wheeling away Reverend Jackson. And you said, you are somebody. And I just remember my eyes getting so teary-eyed. And I was like, he is so, he's done so much to remind people that we are somebody. But just when you shouted that as they were wheeling him away, I don't know, I just got such a warm, fuzzy feeling. Yeah. And just thank you for doing that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I had tears when I shouted that. Yeah.
Yeah. And, we're not going to have a lot of these great leaders for much longer, and we're so blessed. I know one person I really, really missed this year was Dr. Arun Gandhi, the grandson of Gandhi. I miss seeing him in the halls. I miss seeing him on Facebook. I mean, I miss asking him questions and texting and just, and we have so many great sages that have motivated and inspired so many of us, in our generation, and kids in their 30s, 40s, even young kids, that may their memories always be a blessing, inshallah. Always.
May they be a blessing. May their memories be a blessing. And I have to say, Sahar, you're not as old as some of those people, but I see you as a sage as well. I see, this is the hour for you and for a woman of color, an Iraqi American Muslim woman. The world needs to know you and listen to what you have to say. So,
oh my gosh. Thank you for your witness. Communications, a prophet is a communicator. And what you're doing right now, communicating to the world, is a very prophetic thing.
Yeah.
So thank you to you, Rev.
All right. Well, everybody, this is Sahar, and we're signing off.
Thank you so much for being here today. We are people who have left behind performance-based religion and the shame that comes with it. Maybe you have a personal liberation story to tell, and we want to know about it. Please contact us on Twitter at GodIsNotAnAsshole or text 805-703-8393. Because the world needs to know that God is not an asshole.